This is a Louie T Network exclusive.
Hey, either you're outside or you're
in the lab room.
Could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome, you are in the lab room. Of course, I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me on this Louie T Network exclusive list. And I'm feeling listy, and I tell you this all the time. When I feel listy, I start listing things, man. And today, we're going to do the granddaddy of them all. We're going to list the 32 quarterbacks in the National Football League. And so, this is going to be a fun one because I actually had a subscriber ask me, hey, man, why don't you do a list of the 32 quarterbacks in the league, man? Chop it up for me. Let me see what you think. And I said, I'm going to do that, but I was so knee-deep at the time in my wrap-up series that I didn't have the time. But now is as good a time as any to break it down. And I actually saw a list put together by Jason La Canfora, and it was the most creative and unique way to do it. He put the quarterbacks in tiers. And I said, wow, that's pretty different. That's unique. I actually like that concept. And I looked at his list. I didn't agree with everything he had, but I said, damn, that's a really good concept. So I kept the concept. I'm not one to reinvent the wheel, man. If it works, why not roll with it? So I said, I'm going to take your whole outline of how to do this thing and the concept with the tiers, but I'm going to add my little Louie T twist to it, man. Sweeten this drink up a little bit, make it easier for you to consume. So what I did was I decided to take his tiers and keep them intact for the most part, but change the titles, and I actually took it a step further, and I really put my flavor on it because I said, let's have a little fun with this, and I made it a JayZ edition, Hove edition, where I use his songs as the title to the tiers. And I give you the album and the year and some framework and some reference as to why these titles fit these particular tiers and the players that fall in them. Now, Jason La Canfora, to me, took the easy road out of this one. He didn't actually give the players numbers within the tiers. He just put them in tiers. So this tier may have had 5 quarterbacks. This tier may have had 6. This tier may have had 4. But he didn't actually rank them in numerical order. He just put them in tiers. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not taking the easy way out. I'm not going out the back door. I'm going to come and step in your face, man. If I got something to say, I'm going to tell it to you straight to your face. So I'm giving you not only these quarterbacks in the tiers that I believe they fit into, but I'm also going to give you the rankings of them in those tiers. So in effect, you get sequential order for each and every single quarterback in this league that is a starter. Sound great? It should, because this is going to be a lot of fun. Let's jump into this list. And I had all the music and everything lined up. YouTube said, hey man, the hell are you doing? You know better than that. I said, okay, we got some philosophical and creative differences, so I had to kind of take the music out of the thing, but it's all good, man. I'm still do what I do. So let's jump into my list of quarterbacks broken into tiers, a la Jason La Canfora. So we start with the 7th tier, okay? Jason La Canfora had 7 tiers. I'll give you the names that he gave, and then I'll give you my names for these tiers. We start with the 7th tier, so we're going to start from the floor and work our way up to the top.
Number
The verdict
7
is out was titled the 7th tier by Jason La Canfora. The verdict is out, which means that we don't know anything about these players. And essentially, you're talking about rookies, okay? We don't know these guys because we've never seen them on an NFL field. They haven't taken an NFL snap, so we don't know these dudes. So the verdict is out, and I named this one after a title track on the debut album of JayZ, Reasonable Doubt, and what a classic that was. 1996 takes me way back. The name of this tier, the 7th tier, is Coming of Age, the classic with JayZ and Memphis Bleak on the title, on the track. And the only quarterback that fits into this criteria is Jared Goff. Los Angeles Rams quarterback, gonna probably start as a rookie. I got 2 other dudes up here, Paxton Lynch of the Denver Broncos, Carson Wentz of the Eagles. Those guys probably aren't going to see the field if those teams had it their way. Those quarterbacks won't see the field in 2016. So those guys could play at any time though, but we know that Jared Goff of the Los Angeles Rams is going to see the field and going to play quite a bit in his rookie season. So he's coming of age, okay? It's time to come up. Hold up my weight, defend my crown. Time for him to come up and show what he's about in this league. And the other 2 may get an opportunity in 2016. They may not. Eagles have already said, hey, look, man, we thinking about even making Carson Wentz inactive on game days. That's how serious and how far and they got the ability to do that with the two quarterbacks that they went out and signed in the offseason. They got the ability to sit him down and say, you're not playing this year at all. So we'll see what happens there. But the coming of age, tier 7, Jared Goff, quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams. We go to the 6th tier, and this was dubbed by Jason La Canfora as good luck with these guys, and for good reason, man. These quarterbacks going to be pretty tough to win with. I decided to name this after 2 JayZ tracks, not 1 but 2. Starting with Friend or Foe. Again, we're going to that debut album from JayZ in 96, Reasonable Doubt. Friend or Foe, yo, state your biz. You tend to do, there it is. Now, so these dudes, I look at them as, hey man, you a friend or foe? You throwing picks or you throwing touchdowns? Which one? Are you on my team or are you on the other team? These are the quarterbacks that'll play both sides of the fence, man. Give you a chance to win, but in the same breath, can lose you a football game quick, fast, and in a hurry. And also, There's Been a Murder. That's the other track that I chose from an underrated JayZ album, Volume 3, the Life and Times of S. Carter from 1999. And the reason I chose this song, Think There's Been a Murder, is because with these quarterbacks, if you got one of these dudes under center, your team is dead. Dead, I tell you, okay? Your team is walking dead right now. So let's jump into this list quickly. Coming in at 31, Blaine Gabbert, San Francisco 49ers starter. Now, is he going to start the season? Right now, I'm going with the assumption that he is. We'll talk about the other guy that could potentially start for them later on in this breakdown. But right now, I'm going with Blaine Gabbert. And if he's your starter, you're probably going to be maxed out at 7 wins. That's just the way I see it. I don't see Blaine Gabbert getting you more than 7 wins. I just don't think he's good enough to do that in this league. He's a solid backup, a guy that I think can help you for a 2 to 3 to 4 week stretch. But if you're asking him to start 16 games, I don't see any way possible you're winning more than 7 games with Blaine Gabbert unless your defense is absolutely killing people like the 2000 Ravens, where when they had quarterbacks that probably couldn't win you more than 6 or 7 ball games, but the defense was winning games. I just don't see it. So you go on to number 30. Here's another guy. I don't really know about this dude anymore, man. And it's Robert Griffin III coming in at number 30 on this list. I once had high hopes for Robert Griffin III. I thought he was going to be a quarterback that was going to revolutionize the game along with Russell Wilson and all of these other guys, Cam Newton, these guys that could move and be mobile and be dual threat quarterbacks. It just wasn't in the cards for Robert Griffin III. Very fragile. Doesn't know how to protect himself on the field, whether it's sliding or just in the pocket. Gets hurt often, doesn't make reads. There's so many things fundamentally wrong with Robert Griffin III as a football player, but I think more so upstairs mentally, his thought process and how he approaches things was his undoing in Washington and probably going to be his undoing in Cleveland. We'll see, but right now I have zero confidence in Robert Griffin III to get the job done at the quarterback position. He comes in at number 30. And number 29 is none other than Dirty Chaz. Mark Sanchez out there with the Denver Broncos. Now, again, he could be another guy that doesn't start, but right now, I don't think the Broncos have many options. I think he's going to be the guy under center week 1 when they take on the Carolina Panthers in a Super Bowl rematch. I think Dirty Chaz is going to be at the helm for the Denver Broncos. I have zero confidence in Dirty Chaz to get it done on a consistent basis. He's got his good times. He's got his bad times. There's some ups and there's some downs. This man has been to 2 AFC championships, but again, he's a guy that can win you some ball games and can throw you out of them in a hurry. Dirty Chaz comes in at number 29. We go to the next tier, off to tier number 5. Okay, and this was dubbed by Jason La Canfora as guys, veterans, and placeholders. These are quarterbacks that he thinks they're solid, but they're just holding the spot warm for someone else. They're guys that can get you by, but you're not really going to win and see your team grow with these quarterbacks. They're past their prime, or they're a guy that we look at and say, we know who you are, man. We know you already. And so I dubbed this tier number 5 with 2 more JayZ song titles. Never Change, off of the Blueprint album of 2001, one of the greatest albums ever assembled. I never change. No change. These dudes right here, they ain't never changing, man. We know these dudes. We've seen the movie before. Just hit the rewind button and watch it over and over again. Same thing. You already know them, the way the movie ends before you watch it with these quarterbacks. And my other song is 99 Problems off the Black album 2003. Remember, that was supposed to be JayZ's final album. Ended up coming out with some more albums, as we know. But that song, 99 Problems, if one of these quarterbacks is your quarterback, this is the way I feel about it. If one of these quarterbacks is your quarterback. I feel bad for you, son. You got 99 problems, and this quarterback is one, okay? You don't want one of these dudes starting for you. And let's run down this list. Starting at 28, Jay Cutler, Chicago Bears quarterback. Look, Jay Cutler has all the physical gifts necessary to be an elite quarterback in this league. But for some reason, whether it's just mental or him getting injured or whatever the case may be, Jay Cutler just seems to keep making the same mistakes. Now, he actually didn't play bad last year, but Adam Gase is now gone. I don't know if the next coordinator is going to come in and get the same things that Adam Gase was able to get out of him last year. But even with that being said, and that team around him wasn't very great, but still, it's Jay Cutler, man. I mean, I look at Jay and I said, you started out with a bang under Mike Shanahan in Denver, and it's been downhill ever since. So Jay Cutler for me is a guy I just don't trust. I do not trust Jay Cutler at all. He comes in at number 28 on this list. 27, Sam Bradford. Philadelphia Eagles started quarterback seemingly for a year. Okay, this is a rental right here. And Sam Bradford, for all the hoopla with him coming out of Oklahoma as the number 1 overall selection once upon a time by the St. Louis Rams, this is a quarterback that just cannot stay healthy to save his life. I think there's talent there. I mean, I watched him in the preseason last year, and I really thought that the Philadelphia Eagles had something. If he was going to play like that in Chip Kelly's offense, I said, man, this guy could be scary. But again, injuries, inconsistent play. Sam Bradford is the poster child for why you can't pay rookie quarterbacks all that money because it's going to hurt you. You can't pay these top draft picks a bunch of money because in the long run, it's going to hurt you because some of these guys aren't going to pan out a la Jamarcus Russell. And you could also point to Sam Bradford coming in at number 27 on this list. Another guy that I just don't trust. At 26, Ryan Fitzpatrick is the guy that chimes in on this list as the New York Jets quarterback. Look, I look at Ryan Fitzpatrick and I say to myself, I make fun of Ryan Fitzpatrick all the time. I say no team is ever going to make the playoffs with Ryan Fitzpatrick as your quarterback. And I stay true to that, okay? I stick steadfast to that. I believe that. But all jokes aside, he's a competitor. He's a guy that I know is going to play. He's tough as nails, and he wants it. So I'll take him over every other quarterback that I've listed on this list, and maybe a couple of more that if you ask me in a one-game situation, I say, man, I might take Ryan Fitzpatrick because I know he's got balls. That being said, he's Ryan Fitzpatrick, man. This dude has had about 7 teams in the league. He's well-traveled. He seems to always find his way to the starting position somehow, some way. But again, this dude ain't never changing, man. I know him. I know what he looks like, and I know what I'm getting from him just about every single week. You go to number 25, and this is the guy that it pains me to put him here on the list, but I'm running out of patience with him. And it's Ryan Tannehill of the Miami Dolphins. I look at Ryan Tannehill, and I say, man, why are you doing this to me? I was a staunch Ryan Tannehill supporter because I look at him and I say, first of all, I thought the Redskins were going to select him in that 2012 draft. I didn't think the Redskins were moving up to get anybody. So he was going to be the guy. And I said, I did all my homework and I felt comfortable with Ryan Tannehill. And I thought that this guy would get it and he was going to mature. And I just haven't seen that maturity, that maturation. He fails to hit the deep ball, which is killing me with him. He makes inconsistent decisions way too often. And it's much talent that is on that Dolphins football team and has been for the duration of his career. He just hasn't been able to do anything to take this team to the next level. You look at his peers and what they've done out of that draft class. Every single one of them has either won a division or, and I'm talking about the guys that went in that first round with him, the Russell Wilsons, the Robert Griffin IIIs of the world, and of course the Andrew Lucks. All those guys have taken their teams to the playoffs at least once, have won a division, and in some instances been to the championship games in their respective conferences. And in the case of Russell Wilson, he's won a Super Bowl and been to 2. So Tannehill's just lagging behind. And as each year passes, I have less and less confidence in him. And as you see, that man has fallen way down on my list of QBs as he's coming in at number 25. So this next list was actually tier number 3 for Jason La Canfora. I couldn't put these dudes this high. I had to move them back one. So my tier 4 is his tier 3, and his tier 3 is my tier 4, which is the Rising Stars. Is what Jason La Canfora called tier 4. I call it the Takeover, off the blueprint from the 2001 album. And I tell you what, man, this is my jam right here. These boys coming to take over. What now? They run the league. Okay, they're coming to take over the league. All right, and I'm going to tell you right now, these guys are going to climb up this list very rapidly. And it would not shock me if this list looks so different next year. I'm talking light years different. And it's going to be because of this tier right here. Moving up the list and pushing some of these veteran QBs down the list. And so let's talk about the rising stars, or as I like to call it, the takeover. These boys looking to take over the league. Start with 24, Brock Osweiler. Small sample size. Okay, coming from the Denver Broncos, helping them. Let's not forget, his role in them winning the Super Bowl, huge. If he goes in and struggles, remember, the Broncos barely kept the Chiefs from taking that division from them. He had to come in and steady that ship, and he did in the absence of Peyton Manning. Showed some flashes of brilliance, showed some things that we know he's going to need to clean up. But again, with limited experience, we really don't know this dude. But I saw a lot to tell me that I think this guy could be a big hit for the Houston Texans as they finally get a quarterback. They needed to do something. They went out and got Brock Osweiler. We don't know what the results are going to be, but this guy is still young, and I think he's very talented and maybe talented enough to take the Texans to the next level. You go to number 23, Teddy Bridgewater of the Minnesota Vikings. This is a guy that I don't think is ever going to be a superstar in this league, but what I think he is going to be is a really good manager of the game. I think he's going to be a distributor of the football. He's going to be a product of his environment. You put good football players around him, he's going to maximize the talent of the players around him. That being said, it's going to be hard for him to overtake a lot of these other young quarterbacks that he's surrounded by because they have the ability to elevate a team. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater ever will, but that doesn't mean he's not going to win. I like Teddy B, and I think Teddo is going to find himself pretty comfortable on this list the next couple of years, moving up into that middle tier 16-15 range because he's just going to be solid for the duration of his career. You go to 22. Marcus Mariota, double M for me, is a 22nd quarterback on this list. Here's why. I think this guy has immense talent, and the jury's still out. Can he stay healthy, and can he flourish with that Tennessee Titans football team? They changed the direction of the way they want to do things. I'm on board with what they're trying to do, and I think it's going to maximize his skill set. But again, I got to see it, and I didn't see it enough. I saw flashes. That New Orleans Saints game might have been his best win of the season last year, and it was gorgeous. A lot of people will point to the Week 1 win over Tampa Bay. That was two rookies going at each other. They didn't know what they were doing. That week, I don't know, whatever win it was, in New Orleans, in the Superdome, versus Drew Brees, that was beautiful. And if he can do that on a consistent basis, they got themselves a winner in Tennessee and Marcus Mariota. You go to 21, it's Jameis Winston, the quarterback that went number 1 overall last year in the draft. He showed me a lot last year in Tampa. And even though their season didn't end the way they wanted it to, at one point they were 6-6 with a chance to make the postseason. And it's because Jameis Winston was playing some outstanding football. He showed me some things like against Atlanta at home, late in that ball game, 3rd and like 19. The guy runs for 20 yards, runs over 3 or 4 Atlanta Falcon defenders in the process. He wanted that game. He willed his team to that victory. He's got that in him. I'm impressed with what I saw from him in year 1, and I think there's a lot more where that came from. Jameis Winston, 21st overall quarterback in my breakdown right now. 20th quarterback is the 4 Carr in Oakland, the Oakland Raiders quarterback, Derek Carr. This is a guy for me that he's on the rise. This is a huge season for him because year 1, the numbers look good, but I wasn't overly impressed. Year 2, he took me and he said, "Are you impressed now? Are you not entertained?" Yeah, you entertained me. Saw some really big steps that he took. Now, year 3, you got all these pieces around you. I think the Raiders feel like they did enough defensively. You feel like, okay, there should be some continuity there. The offensive line, I think they made some improvements, some upgrades. Now you're thinking, all right, are you ready to take that next step or what? This is going to be a big season for Derek Carr. I'm anxious to see. Everybody's putting all this pressure on the Raiders to go out and perform. Let's see if Derek Carr can take this Raiders football team to the next level, get them over 500 and potentially into the postseason. We will see. He comes in at number 20. 19, Blake Bortles for me was the guy that I pegged in that 2014 draft as the best of that group, and I still feel that way looking at him. Now, there's a lot of things he's going to have to improve upon, decision-making being probably the biggest, but make no mistake about it, they got a lot of talent around him, and I think he's ready, willing, and able to take that next step. With all those guys around him, there's no excuses anymore in Jacksonville. If that offensive line protects, and I thought they did a solid job of that last year, if they protect him up front, that running game I think is only going to get better with the addition of Chris Ivory and the way they're doing things. They got some young backs like Yeldon and that skill group of those receivers. And I think Juice is going to be healthy this year at the tight end position. They got some stuff in Jacksonville. And I think he's going to take that next step. And it's going to be a huge one for this Jacksonville Jaguars football team. I have him as my 19th rated quarterback in the league. And the best, the biggest, and the brightest star of the young guys in tier number 4. You go to tier number 3. And Jason La Canfora had this as his 4th tier. This is going to be my 3rd tier, and it's the guys that can be winning quarterbacks in this league, and that's what he named it. I look at it, and I got 2 different JayZ songs for this one. Show Me What You Got from the Kingdom Come album from 2006, arguably one of JayZ's worst albums. That song wasn't that bad, but I think these quarterbacks need to show me what you got. I need to see what these boys got because we think they can win, but we're not sure. So you need to show me what you got. And the other song is from an album that I thought was very underrated. It was a really solid album, but there were some songs that I could pick off of there, though, that I say, man, these are some JayZ classics right here. And it's from the La Rock Familia album from 2000. And the song is Soon You'll Understand. And so this is a group of quarterbacks that we'll know sooner or later what these guys are. And so soon we'll understand who they are in the pantheon of quarterbacks in this league. Either they're going to be really good and they're going to ascend, they're going to be marginal quarterbacks, stay right around where they are right now, or they're going to sink like they have an anvil attached to them and they're going to drop from the consciousness of NFL football fans. So we're going to know soon. You'll understand who these quarterbacks are. Let's jump into this list. At 18, Tyrod Taylor, man. Look, I'm going to tell you what. Impressive is an understatement with how I felt leaving the 2015 NFL season. I thought he did a phenomenal job. Things weren't always peaches and cream around him on that football team. A lot of injuries. But this guy had the Bills in a position to make the postseason for much of the season. And he throws a gorgeous deep ball. He's a dual threat quarterback that I think he can find a way to stay healthy. And that's the one thing I wonder about with Tyrod Taylor. Can he stay healthy? If he can do that, I was impressed with him from the pocket. I didn't expect that from him, but that's what happens when a guy actually sits and develops for 3 years and then gets an opportunity. You get guys that actually learn how to play the position, which is what you don't get a lot of times with players actually being able to sit and learn. He got a chance to sit and learn. You saw what happened with him because of that. That final product was a guy that I feel confident in and having the ability to get it done at the NFL level. Tyrod Taylor comes in at number 18 on my list. At 17, a guy that, man, oh man, just 3 years ago, he would have been in the top 10 discussion, and he had a nickname and everything. He was Matty Ice. He was Ice. Now he's just Matt Ryan. Don't call him Matty Ice. He's just Matt Ryan, goddammit. Coming in at number 17 is Matt Ryan. Each and every single year, I lose confidence more and more in Matt Ryan. And we're going to look up, and next year, the Atlanta Falcons are going to be giving Matt Ryan a $120 million deal, and he's going to be saying stuff. He doesn't deserve that kind of money. It's the position, folks. Stop it. Look, I look at Matt Ryan, and I say the reason the Falcons didn't make the playoffs, Matt Ryan, okay? He struggled last year throwing the football to players who were wearing the opposite color jersey. Some really bad throws, some really bad decisions. And I thought he tried to force the football to 2 guys in particular. Devontae Free, and, of course, Julio Jones. So, he didn't use all of the targets that were out there on the football field. I'm hoping, and this is to me the way that he's going to get back to being Matty Ice, is by spreading the football around, being judicious with the football. Don't force feed it to just 1 or 2 guys. That's how you get yourself in trouble. He got himself in trouble a lot last year. I don't have a lot of confidence in him right now, and it's waning. He's at 17 on this list, and he needs to step it up, or he'll find himself back there with the Ryan Fitzpatricks and Ryan Tannehills of the world soon if he doesn't clean his act up. I'm getting worried about Matt Ryan. You go to number 16 on this list, and it's my Mendoza line, or as I like to call it, my Smith line. Alex Smith, to me, is the separation between the good quarterbacks that really got a chance to win in this league and the rest of those dudes that I don't really know about. And so if you're underneath Alex Smith, who comes in at 16, who always comes in at 16 on my list, because to me, he's the quintessential average quarterback. And when I say that in the nicest way possible, because Alex Smith can get the job done. We saw him take this Chiefs team to the divisional round and push the Patriots to the brink last year. We've seen him take the 49ers all the way to the NFC Championship game. But there's limitations with Alex Smith, but I really like him, and I love the way that Captain Chapter take care of the football. He takes care of the football. But with that being said, there's still limitations there, and those limitations keep Alex Smith at 16 on my list. 15, Matthew Stafford, Detroit Lions quarterback. To me, he's got, much like Jay Cutler, all the weapons that you could ask for in one body in terms of a quarterback. He's got a rifle for an arm, got more athleticism than people give him credit for. He can throw from multiple slots, but again, decision making is what holds him back. But when he's good, when he's on, we've seen what this guy's capable of. And I think with no Calvin Johnson, I'm very intrigued to see what this does for him. Because the year that Calvin Johnson was in and out of the lineup, banged up, and he had to throw to other guys like Golden Tate, who went bananas in 2014. They made the playoffs. They won 10 games. Now again, the defense was tremendous in that season. But why can't the defense get back to being tremendous? They don't have a bunch of parts there that will hold them down defensively. I think they can be fine on the defensive side of the football. His play is going to determine how far this Detroit Lions team goes. And I think if he spreads the football around instead of forcing it to one guy. Right now, looking at the roster, there is no one to force it to. Going to need some of these other guys to step up. Running game has to be much better. Offensive line has to be better in front of him. But I think he can be one of those guys that can lead a team and do some things. I'm not totally sold on Matthew Stafford, but I'll tell you this much. I think there is much more to be written in the book of Matthew. And I think Matthew Stafford has a chance to really ascend still in this league. He's at number 15 on my list. At 14, call it what you want. You can call me biased. You can call me delusional. Hey, it's all in bounds, man. Do what you do. But at 14 for me, is none other than Captain Kirk Cousins himself. Watch the Redskins quarterback, and you can say, oh, it was only 1 year. He hasn't beaten a winning team, yada, yada. Go ahead, man. Throw it all out there. But the things that he did in last season's regular season, not many quarterbacks can attest to. Okay? 69.8% completion percentage. Fourth highest in NFL history. Who's doing it? You say what you want. Okay? Shattered about 5 watch the Redskins franchise records in terms of passing. His last 10 games of the season, nobody in the league, few were better at the quarterback position. Kirk Cousins showed a lot last year, and it, again, much like a Brock Osweiler, he's only going to get better because now he's getting a chance to really be the guy. He's really getting a chance to get his feet wet, and I think you're going to see who this guy really is this season. And I'm telling you right now, it could be scary for opposition teams going up against that Redskin high potent offense with the offensive line in front of them that's gelling, that's coming into their own. The running game's still a question mark, but you can't find many more receiving cores. If you want to throw Jordan Reed in there that are better in this league than Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon, and now rookie Josh Doctson, with still guys like Jamison Crowder out there getting it done, and you throw Jay Reed in there. How many teams are boasting that kind of offensive weaponry? Kirk Cousins is going to get better, and I think a lot of people are going to be amazed at the leap that this guy makes from year 1 in that offense, or him playing consistently in that offense, to year 2 of him being essentially the starter. This is a guy that I'm really high on. And again, call me what you want. Kirk Cousins, number 14 on this list. And number 13 on this list is Andy Dalton, okay? Andy Dalton is a guy, the Red Rifle, that at one point I was fully on the Andy Dalton bandwagon. I mean, I was on the boat, and I was actually the captain of the yacht. I wasn't just on the boat. I was the captain of the ship. Y'all sit down, and I was rowing. I was rowing that boat. And then Andy had a couple of playoff slip-ups, and I looked at Andy and I said, hey, get the hell off my boat, man. Matter of fact, you can keep the boat. I'm going to get off. And so from that point on, me and Andy didn't see eye to eye. But I'm here to tell you that me and Andy, we starting to see eye to eye again. Andy was phenomenal last year. Before the injury, they were looking like a team that could easily go to the Super Bowl in the AFC. He gets injured, and that season went to hell in a handbasket. But make no mistake about it, Andy Dalton was playing at an MVP-like level before he got injured last year. I'm starting to come around to Andy again. I like what I'm seeing from him, and I think he has the potential to take over not just that AFC North division, but he's got a chance to really ascend as one of the top tier quarterbacks in the AFC. That's saying a lot because there are some limitations with Andy Dalton in his game, but that guy has been very consistent from the day he set foot in Cincinnati, and he's gotten better. And so I like Andy Dalton as the leader of tier number 3 with an opportunity to go up to tier 2 very soon. Speaking of tier number 2, let's go to that. Jason La Canfora calls this top pros, proven winners. I call this Can't Knock the Hustle. A classic off of that Reasonable Doubt debut album from JayZ in 1996. You cannot knock the hustle of these quarterbacks that I'm about to list. You can say what you want, but these boys get it done. Start with 12, which was Carson Palmer. So he's the 12th quarterback in that group. And I look at Carson Palmer, and he could have easily not been in that group. But look, Carson Palmer is a guy that has gotten it done throughout his career. You can't knock the hustle. He's been with 3 different franchises, helped elevate 2 of them to the playoffs when they were really desolate franchises. And so I look at Carson Palmer and I say this guy has the ability. Finally won a playoff game last year, but he was horrible in the playoffs last year. And that's what really turned me off and has soured me to Carson Palmer. He's got a lot of work to do. And I know he had a banged up finger and whatnot. I don't want to hear any excuses. He struggled in the postseason. He struggled last year in the postseason. I need for Carson Palmer to get the job done at the highest level. But at the end of the day, you can't knock the hustle that is Carson Palmer. And I tell you right now, you're talking about the prettiest drop back in the best form. Nobody looks prettier in the pocket than Carson Palmer, man. Standing 6'5", tall in the pocket, perfect drop back, perfect form, perfect stature, everything. If you were teaching somebody at a quarterback camp how to do it, put on some Carson Palmer tape. God damn, can't get his name out correctly. Put on some Carson Palmer tape. All right, and that's the way to do it. So this guy's number 12 on my list. Number 11, Tony Romo. I know y'all don't like Tony Romo. If you're not a Cowboys fan, then you're a hater. Tony Romo was a top 10 quarterback before the injury started to take effect. This was a dude that, look, you say what you want, and you can talk about his playoff failures all you like. I'm going to listen because you're right. I can't deny that. But I'm going to tell you right now, regular season, this dude was getting it done at one of the highest rates of any quarterback on this list. He was getting it done, and Tony Romo's a special quarterback when healthy. Say what you want about Tony Romo. Late game failures, pressure when the game's on the line, competition anxiety. You go ahead and list all of the ailments that he's got. But at the end of the day, Tony Romo is still one of the best quarterbacks in this league when healthy. He comes in at number 11 on this list. Number 10, 2-time Super Bowl winning champion Eli Manning is a guy that with the game on the line, you won't find many better in this league with the game on the line than Eli Manning. This is a guy that still gets it done. I thought he had one of his better seasons last year with his now head coach, then offensive coordinator in McAdoo. And so now I look at what is going on. I say Ben McAdoo might turn Eli Manning back into a real force to be reckoned with in this league, because at one point Eli was starting to turn it up. Then he started to have some mistakes again. Now it looks like Eli's starting to turn it back up again. And I'm going to tell you right now, with the way he's getting rid of that football in that Ben McAdoo system, this could be trouble for a lot of teams. Eli Manning, still a top tier quarterback. He comes in at number 10 on this list. Number 9 is a dude that I will go to war for with anybody, and it's my man, Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco. That's my boy. Don't you forget it. Joe Flacco comes in at number 9, and again, another one of these guys that a lot of people have their opinions with. They're going to throw a lot of numbers at me. Find me the quarterback that's going on the road and winning at a higher clip than Joe Flacco. Find me that dude. Find me the dude that with the game on the line's got ice water in his veins more so than Joe Flacco, man. All right? The guy is uncluttered and unshackled by thought with the game on the line, man. Joe Flacco is as cool as the other side of the pillow with the game on the line, and that's why this man's in the top 10 for me. You ask me which quarterback am I taking with the game on the line, minute and 27 seconds left in the game with one timeout, and that quarterback's got to go 80 yards because we're down by 4. And you know who I'm picking? Nope, not Aaron Rodgers. Nope, not Tom Brady. Nope, not Eli Manning. Joe Flacco. That's right. And that's why he's number 9 on this list. You go to number 8. And it's a dude that still has a lot left in the tank if you ask me. Phillip Rivers. Philly Rivers, man, still slinging a rock out there in San Diego for the San Diego Superchargers. And I'm going to tell you right now, he doesn't have a lot around. Okay, there's not a lot of guys but protecting him up front. There's not a lot of guys getting it done at the skill position. Yet Phillip Rivers is still swinging a rock and keeping the San Diego Chargers relevant. I'm telling you right now, I thought his arm would conk out on him because of that weird, funky mechanic mechanics that he hasn't done it yet. And as a matter of fact, he's still pumping out pure heat from the quarterback position. And Phil Rivers is one of those guys that when we look back at his career, we're going to say, wow, man, he was a hell of a quarterback. I don't think he gets the just due that he deserves. And we probably won't fully respect him because of the lack of success in the postseason. We probably won't actually respect and admire his career until he's done. But I'm going to give him the recognition that he deserves as he's number 8 still at the right age. What are we at now? 35, 34, 35, 36, somewhere in there? Still going to get that man his respect as the number 8 quarterback on my list. Number 7, Andrew Luck. And again, you might beat me up for this, but Andrew Luck before last season and all the injuries, he's a top-tier quarterback, man. Since 2012, he had won the division every single year. And he was, and again, yeah, his division is weak, but I don't care. He still got to go out and get it done, and he was able to do that. And he's taken his team to the playoffs, won some games. That Kansas City Chiefs game 2 years ago in the playoffs in Wild Card Weekend, one of the greatest comebacks we've ever seen in Wild Card history. We saw him go to the AFC Championship game, just fell short. This is a guy that, with the proper protection, they got weapons around him. I still don't know about their running game yet, but I'm going to tell you right now, they've got some stuff brewing in Indy. If they can protect him, that guy is as legit as any young quarterback in this league, and that's why he comes in on this list at number 7. At number 6 is a guy that just keeps getting it done. Probably could have easily been in tier 1, but I'm a little bit apprehensive to put him in that same discussion with the rest of those dudes. And it's Drew Brees at number 6. I look at Drew Brees and I say, man, his body of work speaks for itself. At his size, to do it the way he's done it for the duration of his career has been phenomenal. A little bit too many interceptions for me of late. You know, last 3 or 4 years strong. Drew's been tossing it to the wrong team a little bit, and that's probably why he's not on his list. You see these other quarterbacks that are going to be in that first tier, they find a way to get their teams, whether their team is great around them or not, they find a way to get their teams to the postseason. And it hasn't always been the case, and I know that defense last year in New Orleans, historically bad. But nonetheless, Drew Brees is a guy that I feel like he's one of the best quarterbacks, and talking about pure passers that we've ever seen in this league, but I don't think he's in that top tier discussion any longer as we move to the number 1 tier in the National Football League. Bonafide franchise QBs is what Jason La Canfora calls this. I call it The City Is Mine. Off of the In My Lifetime Volume 1 album by JayZ, his second official album release in 97. And this is a classic. I mean, this was JayZ's declaration to the rap world, and more importantly, to the city of New York, that the city is mine. Biggie passed away. He passed the torch to me, not Nas, not any of these other rappers, but to me. This is my city. The city is mine. Well, that's what these quarterbacks have said. For the last decade plus, these quarterbacks have said, the league is mine. You look at these 5 quarterbacks that I got on this list. Of the last 13 Super Bowls, these quarterbacks have participated in at least 10 of them. Sometimes against each other. That's how dominant these quarterbacks have been over the last decade. Plus, we start at number 5. Cam Newton, a guy that is a new entrant to this list. Last year's season, historic. His dominance over the league, MVP-like, which is why he was the MVP. You look at his ability to run, use his legs, but also throw the football. I thought he made strides last year in the pocket. He's still got a long way to go, which is scary because the way he played last year and still saying that he can get better, that should be scary to a lot of teams around the league. But that is the exact case for Cam Newton. As he continues to grow and develop in the pocket and relies less and less on his legs, he's going to become even more scarier as a quarterback. But right now, with his size, his ability, and the ability to throw the football and the rifle he has as a right arm, this guy is an elite quarterback in this league, and he comes in at number 5. He put that Panthers football team on his back, took them all the way to the Super Bowl game. Now you go to number 4, a guy that another one of these guys that's underrated. When we start talking about the best in the league, you can easily gloss over his name and not even pay attention. But I'm here to tell you that this guy, when healthy and even when he's not healthy, still one of the best in the league. I'm talking about Big Ben Roethlisberger coming in at number 4. You talk about a guy that will go down in NFL lore as one of the toughest competitors. Just think about that wild card game last year against Cincinnati. He gets drilled by Vontaze Burfict, leaves the game, looks like he's done. Hollywood ending. He comes back in on the final possession of the game, takes him down the field, leads him to a win with one arm. I mean, that's the kind of competitor that Ben Roethlisberger has been throughout his career. A guy that just has been tough as nails. Always injured, but still gutting it out for his team. When he's healthy, he's one of the best in the league. He goes toe-to-toe with all these boys. Brady, he's done it with Manning and all these guys for years. And when it's all said and done, you're going to look at Ben Roethlisberger and say, man, he was one of the best to ever do it at the quarterback position. And right now, we don't give him that kind of praise and those accolades, but you look at his career when it's done, and he's been doing it for quite some time. I mean, he came in as a rookie and was getting it done for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Even when they had to babysit him, he still was helping them win ball games at a right young age in the league. So Ben Roethlisberger, for me, still getting it done at a high level. Had Antonio Brown not went down, I think they were in the Super Bowl last year. I mean, I think they beat Denver. They almost beat Denver with Fitzgerald Toussaint at running back. That's how Ben Roethlisberger does it. That's how that man operates. As we move on to number 3, dangerous Russell Wilson. Coming in at number 3, dangerous Russell Wilson. I remember I did a video back in the day, probably their rookie season or maybe 2013, about Cam Newton versus Russell Wilson. Which one would I rather have? And at that time, I took Russell Wilson. I said, come back, ask me that question next year. It may change to Cam Newton. Nope, it's still Russell Wilson. This is a guy that knows how to protect himself. He can deliver the football down the field, but he's cerebral in the pocket. You never really get a good shot on this guy. He's always getting away and extending the play and making things happen. One of the best players at the quarterback position since he's entered the league. This guy just seems to do everything right, makes the right play, the smart play, the correct football play 95% of the time, it seems like. He's always one step ahead of the defense, and he finds a way. He hasn't had elite talent around him on the offensive side of football. We know how good that defense has been, but offensively, they had a bunch of meh players around him, yet he's elevated the play of those guys. Marshawn Lynch being a one star that you could say he's been playing with, but he's found a way to get this team in the playoffs every year he's been in the league. Has been to 2 Super Bowls already. Won one of them, should have won 2. We all know about the infamous play call and the interception to lose them the Super Bowl 2 years ago. With that being said, this is a guy that has done it at a high level, the highest of high levels since entering the league. It's hard to argue the importance of Russell Wilson to that Seattle Seahawks football team and franchise. That's why he comes in at number 3. Number 2, this is a toss-up for a lot of you guys, not for me. Okay, number 2 is terrific Tom Brady. Okay, Tom Terrific for me comes in at number 2, even at the right old age. What are we at now? What are we, 37, 38 maybe? Somewhere in there. I mean, Tom is still doing it at a high level, man. And I look at Tom Brady, and I say to myself, wow, bro, you a beast. And we could easily call him GOAT, man, the greatest of all time at quarterback position. I used to argue it was Peyton Manning. I think it's Tom Brady now, man. But if you're asking me to take a quarterback for one game, there's somebody better than him. You already know who it is. I don't got to tell you, but Tom Brady, his ability, we talked about elevating teams and not having great talent around you. He's had to deal with that his entire career. 1 year with elite talent around him. And what did he do? Go undefeated in the regular season and almost have a perfect season. When he had Randy Moss and a legit number 1 receiver, that's what Tom Brady produced. One of the greatest seasons we've ever seen in NFL history. That's what Tom Brady is. Has come back from a major knee injury to tear the league up. Has been to the Super Bowl, 6 times in his career. Won, what are we at? 4 Super Bowls? Won 4 of them. I mean, Tom Brady is a legend. And I look at Tom Brady, and I think when it's all said and done, he's going to be the greatest quarterback we've ever seen in our life. And I'm pleased to be able to say, I'm actually honored to be able to say, I watched this whole man's career, and I watched him grow from a young kid that was a 6th-round pick that was just happy to be here into the pompous, arrogant jerk that's the best quarterback probably in the entire National Football League. I love it. I love it, want more of it. And Tom Brady, he gets the salute from me. Lifetime Achievement Award. This dude is doing it at a high level, and he's not done yet. That's the scary part. He's still got more pages to write on in the book of Tom Brady. But the number 1 quarterback for me, you asked me for one game who I'm taking, of course it's A-Rod, Aaron Rodgers. And yeah, you ain't got to like him. You just mad because he tell it how it is and you tell it how it might be. Aaron Rodgers is probably not the greatest teammate. He's not a guy that you want to kick it with, but on the football field, he's a badass, okay? Aaron can run, Aaron can throw. Nobody throws on the run with more accuracy and velocity than Aaron Rodgers. Pinpoint accuracy. And I love the chip. I love the championship belt, man. Sign me up each and every single day of the week for the chip. And so I always want him to score a touchdown rushing just so I can see him whip the belt out. And this is my dude, man. A-Rod, I don't think he's great necessarily in 2-minute situations, not like a Joe Flacco or Eli Manning or one of those dudes, but you talking about a guy that's going to put you in a position to win ball games consistently, doesn't miss the deep ball very often, throws on the run with supreme accuracy. Some of the things he does, I've never seen on a football field from a quarterback. All right, I mean, his ability to mix in pocket passer with mobility and being able to throw on the run, uncanny. Everything you want in a quarterback, you get with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, if you were putting together and assembling the perfect quarterback, you'd be talking about Aaron Rodgers, essentially. I mean, he has everything you're looking for, and I really don't know what else to say. What more can I say about Aaron Rodgers other than, to me, right now, he's the best quarterback in the league, and I take him every single day over any other quarterback in the league. If you're asking me to win one game, taking Aaron Rodgers. Let me go back. And I got one more quarterback. If Colin Kaepernick is the starter for the San Francisco 49ers, he'd be right behind Alex Smith at number 17. Push everybody back one. That's what would happen. So you would take Blaine Gabbert out of 31, and everybody would get pushed back one. He would be in tier number 3, the guys that can be winning quarterbacks. We've seen Colin Kaepernick win before. And I don't know if he's done winning now or not, but with Chip Kelly, we all like to think that that's a perfect match made in heaven. Hand in glove. If those guys can make beautiful music together, we'll see. I heard Cap has lost weight. He's in phenomenal shape. He's gotten back to the way he was when he first came into the league, which could be trouble for teams in that division. We'll see. Don't really know that whole story yet. Haven't seen that unfold. But if Colin Kaepernick is, in fact, the starter for the 49ers, he'd be at number 17 in tier number 3 of the guys that could be winning quarterbacks, which for me, Show Me What You Got, Kingdom Come 2006 album, arguably JayZ's worst. And Soon You'll Understand from the La Rock Familia album of 2000. So that is my quarterback list. So if it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything. And now for the National Football League. I got some more content for y'all. Come on back and join me. I will see you next time. Enjoy.
There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie T, be sure to follow me on Twitter at @InTheLabRoom, or you can like the Facebook page at In the Lab Room. That's In the Lab Room on Facebook and at In the Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.